you're in a good place. You're feeling better than I was on that night. You're in a good place. If you have one phone doing better than I was, that time's a beat.
Hear the light.
What's going on, everybody? I'm gonna set it.
Yes.
We're not supposed to be laughing right now.
No, it's sad and somber and somber.
It's a sad day in the news. One of my favorite country singers in the world has died today.
Hi, Millie.
I love Kenny Rogers. It is still rocking out. Oh, I loved the lady. I loved the gambler. And he dies today at the age of 81. Anybody else a Kenny Rogers fan besides me?
We just played with everybody's emotions.
Yeah.
Rave.
You guys thought this was a rave party, huh? Now you're at a
just
funeral.
kidding. Kenny Rogers died. Welcome.
He did have a good full life, and I was reading up on him to see if he was an alcoholic or an addict or anything like that. And the answer is no. He did have a couple experiences with drugs, but he said one time that he smoked weed, got on stage, and then when he got off stage, his crew was like, dude, what were you talking about? You just went off for an hour about the zoo. So he never really messed with drugs or anything like that. And his net worth as he dies today is $250 million. Yeah, Merd, he is no longer with us. But he lived to be 81, had an awesome life, great voice. When he threw concerts, it was a bunch of girls in the audience, not dudes. He said the guys in the audience looked depressed as they sat next to their happy wives. We love Kenny Rogers.
I think it would be the opposite for us.
I'd
look depressed. I sat next to my happy husband.
I would have thrown my panties on the stage. Yep, 81 today. He died. Bummer. What's up, JL? How you doing today? Did you hear that Kenny Rogers died, and are you a fan? So if Veronica on here yet? I just want to tell her good job on she's doing it. You know, she's taking the steps. She's listening to what the advice that she's getting from people here and people around her and doing that. Buy me a rose, call me from work. What does he say? He's singing. I knew Mark would like him. Gambler is a great song. JL says he's a fan, and it's a sad day. I agree, brother.
Instead of JL, we should call him Joe.
Joel.
Well, to each his own.
What?
A gold sink.
Yeah. If I had money, I'd have a gold sink. I'd probably have a gold microphone.
And a gold
Instead of
toilet.
this
And
silver
gold
one.
toilet paper. Oh, guess what we got today? TP.
We did get toilet paper, or they got toilet
I
paper.
found
at the
TP for
store.
my bunghole.
a good day.
Very good day. Tell yourself, just for today, my thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery. Just for today, I will have a program. I will try to follow it to the best of my ability. Just for today, through NA, I will try to get a better perspective on my life. Just for today, I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new associations, people who are not using and who have found a new way of life. So long as I follow that way, I have nothing to fear.
Isn't it very interesting that he died?
Welcome to Saturday night, Recovering Addict. Last night was a good, long live stream. Holy cow, we did 4 hours last night. That was insane, but it was awesome. Every minute was worth it, too. I found some new people that I think may join us later, hopefully, here in the chit chat. I told them about it, and I know that what we're doing here is spreading. What's up, Polly? We got Murd, we got Troy, we got Lynn B, JL, James Vickers in the house. Of course, Merck's in here. We talked to him a second ago. Who else did I miss? Did I miss anybody? Millie. I know Millie's watching.
Isn't it interesting that he died?
James Vicker, we talked to. We said his name. Yeah, that's it.
It's very interesting that he died.
Are you rubbing his beard, Linky?
It's a nice beard.
It could be a possibility.
And so, yeah, we covered about anything you could cover yesterday. I got some news for you to read for you today. San Francisco is doing some cool stuff with meth addicts. We'll talk about, where's my news? We'll talk about how the nation's opioid addiction treatment system during the COVID-19 needs to be reformed. We'll go through some of that. We got some AANA literature. Of course, I found some stuff we'll read out of Staying Sober. We'll go through some daily reflections as usual. And as always, we
Recovered.
will no, not yet. We'll go through all the comments and stuff. How's Amos is doing good. We went on a walk today. I don't know what's going to happen. Where I work, they have a confirmed case of the coronavirus. But as far as I know, they want us to come in Monday because the work that I do, it's considered essential. So they said, get your butt to work. What's up, Nicole?
Hey, Nicole.
How you doing tonight?
So you'll listen for about 5 minutes and fall asleep?
It's late where they're at. They're an hour behind. Sober James is even later. It's already 10 o'clock where he's at.
Oh, Alcatraz would be a cool place if it was remodeled. That'd be
James,
scary.
let's buy it and do it.
Yes.
I'm down.
Oh my gosh.
That would be awesome. That's a great idea.
I heard about the 3 guys that escaped Alcatraz.
And you
And
can
if
pretend
you-
it's haunted.
And if you relapse, we beat you. We beat him into submission on Alcatraz. Alcatraz is one of the toughest rehab joints in the nation. Only the strong survive. You'll come out of there so strong you won't want to do drugs anymore. That'll be too weak. I'm down too, bro. That would be awesome. Brittany, what's going on?
Oh, hello,
Brittany,
Brittany.
beautiful. Oh, I thought James was hitting on you when he called you Brittany Beautiful. That's your last name, I guess.
You should switch your first and your last name and
James
call
has
you
done
Beautiful
everybody.
Brittany.
Yeah.
Dad, I know you should do with her username.
Oh, Lynn.
Switch the first and the last part and
Oh,
call her
should-
Beautiful
should I?
Brittany.
You can't escape.
8 o'clock. So you're close to us then, Lynn. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock where we're at as well. I didn't get to go in Alcatraz. Long time ago, I won a trip out to San Francisco and we went on a breakfast thing and just went around it, went under the Golden Gate Bridge and stuff. And my favorite part of the thing was breakfast champagne. Of course, I was drunk by whatever time it was. And that was when I was probably 20, 19 or 20. I was doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
I just drove past it in a boat once.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, I'm going to change the background. Everybody knows, everybody's sad, everybody pay their respect to Kenny Rogers. And
Oh, should we have a moment of silence for Kenny Rogers?
let's have a moment of silence for Kenny. I would play you a song, but I don't want to get copyright violations.
Can you sing it?
No. There we go. We took that picture today hiking. That's my son, the one that was sick. And he's doing much better now. It was colder today. It rained on us a little bit, but it was nice. Dude, had I known you were going to talk about it, tomorrow night I'll have an Alcatraz background. Troy says Alcatraz was spooky. Spooky.
Pretty sure it's haunted.
Oh, now that we've mourned. Who killed Kenny?
They finally killed Kenny.
Yeah.
Who killed Kenny?
Well, that's more important, for sure. Totally understand if we can't make it to these things. We do them every night, so we can tune in next time. Not a big deal. But we're glad you got to talk to your mom. I'm sure Nicole would say the same thing. Hey, what's up? You made it. This is who I was talking about, everybody. I was hoping that somebody would pop in here who's got some sobriety under their belt. An awesome story. Maybe one day could join us live on here and tell us her story. But that's awesome. We're glad you made it. Sweet. We do this every night. Let me actually back up and tell you, since you're new to the chat, new to the group, this is what's going on. Since there's the coronavirus thing going on, the time of need, AA, NA meetings are canceled, like I texted you. Nicole at Real Talk Recovery, she comes on at 6 o'clock. This is Mountain Time, so do the math. Sober James, he comes on at 7. He just ended his broadcast, and I jump on here as a family at 8 o'clock, and we talk recovery. We talk about whatever's on your heart. We laugh, we cry. I don't cry, you cry. And we go over some news. We read literature, AA literature, sober literature, and we all just try to stay here sober because we recover better together. You get different personalities, you get different topics throughout these 3 hours, this trilogy of recovery, and we just sit and talk and have fun. And it's a good time because all the NA, I don't know where you live, but all the AA and NA meetings, counseling, my aftercare program, and I'm supposed to go on to Tuesday nights, everything's closed down. So we raised up this trinity right here to, like James says, it's the triangle of recovery to fill in and supplement what we are missing and lacking in our communities to help us stay sober and to practice social distancing and to try to get through this coronavirus mayhem.
If we had the Alcatraz background, Sober James would really be experiencing
Check it out.
right
It's
now.
Sober James. Yeah, it's Sober James's turn to fill the end of the world. We had an earthquake a few days ago, and that was the end of the world. Now Sober James, his city couldn't pay the power bills because everybody's at home. He's on mobile data. Well, I hope you have an unlimited plan. Alicia. I say that right, I hope. Alicia B. Awesome. Cool. So you're from Salt Lake? Awesome. We're just up in Pleasant View. We're right up the street from you. There's a lady that'll jump on here hopefully shortly. I haven't seen her tonight yet, but her name's Raina. And she's out there in Salt Lake with you guys. Hey, look, Ash made it.
Hey, Ash.
Yes, Britt, you are a brat. You told me to get on, then you was a no-show. I hate being stood up so bad.
Really
Dang it, Brittany.
I feel like you got the essence of that. I felt it.
Well, at least that's good news. At least it went black after you were able to provide your service for the country. And I mean the sober country. That sucked.
Did you click on Vickers? That's creepy.
There was a guy around here that was driving around with the purge blaring one day. I can't remember what happened. That's all I heard. He was just driving around with the radio in his car, bumping the purge really loud. Yeah, stuff is getting real. There's no doubt about that. But here's some good news. Let me read this to you. So San Francisco is to open a tent sobering center for meth users. It says the Center for People Experiencing Meth-Induced Psychosis will open in San Francisco to help them get sober in a safe place, the latest effort to address the city's rising drug overdose and rampant street drug use. The center believed to be the first in the U.S. specifically for people who are high on meth will open late this spring in a city-owned park parking lot in the town of Tenderloin. No, it's a neighborhood called Tenderloin, where streets are littered with syringes and addicts congregate. And this was reported by the San Francisco Chronicle on Thursday. Mayor London Breed said the 24-hour center will get high people off the streets and then connect them with addiction treatments and other services. Each tent will have 15 beds. The reality is that the drug use and overdoses are on a rise, and doing nothing is not an option anymore, Breed said in a statement. The public drug use we see every day hurts those who are suffering from addiction as well as the surrounding communities. I concur. The spike in meth addiction in the city has been a main driver for crowding of the psychiatric emergency rooms in San Francisco, General Hospital, overwhelming medical staff and sometimes resulting in patients being released back into the streets before they are deemed ready. From 2017 to 2018, 47% of all visits to the psychiatric emergency rooms were related to meth use. Officials hope the centers will relieve some of that pressure. People with meth-induced psychosis often are paranoid, hallucinate, and behave aggressively. The center aimed at helping people coming down from drug highs will be staffed by nurses and counselors who will give addicts advice about long-term help, like treatment beds, shelter beds, and how they should take care of themselves mentally or physically. Highlight Right 360, one of the largest San Francisco drug treatment providers, will run it. It says a driver with a van will be posted outside the center to pick up people showing signs of methamphetamine-induced psychosis. Official says the center may eventually accept patients from hospital emergency rooms, but will begin accepting people only from the streets. San Francisco is also among several cities in the country considering open supervised injection sites to address drug addiction. That's kind of weird. Advocates say injection sites have been successful in Canada, Europe, and elsewhere, and that when combined with on-site recovery resources, they can help prevent overdoses and help users. That's interesting. What do you guys think about that?
They're still illegal under federal law, though, that last sentence.
Oh, but injection sites are illegal under the U.S. federal law. Oh, that's weird. So she loves the idea, Brittany says. Addicts need unconditional love, but it's a fine line to walk between helping and enabling. I agree with that, too. I like the idea of getting them off the streets, sobering them up, and then kicking them to some type of treatment center. If you can get into that window of like, hey, you need to change your life and they want to go, that would be awesome. But to, have a place like, hey, come get high over here so we can clean up after you and throw your needles away. I don't think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Ask you a question.
Are you afraid of your young son using someday, and how do you deal with that? I have let me tell you about that. This one, no. I have 3 sons. I have a daughter as well, so I have 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. My oldest boy, are you watching, Amos? Let me change the screen back to him. Yeah, I've already caught him. He's already gone down that road, just like we did when we were that age. I came home one night. I don't want to tell it on live TV. Maybe I shouldn't. But anyway, yeah, I'm definitely afraid. I'm not his. Well, I'm his real dad. Watch out. I'm not his real father. And Fleece is not. He's pretty much our adopted son. I've had him since he was a baby. I was an addict. He witnessed me be an addict through 5-6 years, from when he was 10 years old up till 50. He's 15 now. So he saw me lead as an example of an addict, an alcoholic. So he's got that and saw me glorify it in the days that I was glorifying it and partying and having a good time. But his real dad, who's back in his life now, is also an addict. He's got a year clean. He goes around to meetings around here. I've seen him at a few meetings. And so on top of my example that he was raised with, he's got the genetics from his father. So, yeah, it terrifies me. I try to tell him every day. I try to get it through his head that the end is only jails, institutions, and death. We can only do what we can do. They're going to make their own choices. I'm sure my parents now they didn't really try that hard, but you know, I did what I wanted to do, and my parents wouldn't have stopped me. I ran away basically. I moved out when I was 15 and I never went home. Haven't been home since. And I went out and my goal was to party, get high, do drugs, and that was it. That was my goal in life until I ended up in jail for a year and a half, and then late in my 30s in the hospital. So yeah, I'm terrified of amusing. I tell him almost every day, I'm like, you're going to be that dude at the meeting that's going to be, I wish I would have listened to my dad. Now I've experienced, I wrote down, Sober James said the 3 stages, and I had to write it down right as he said it. The 3 stages of alcohol. You got that rock and roll fun stage. Then the second one, you just, I can't read my own handwriting. It starts ruining your health. You're alone. You get fat. And then the third one is when you get dementia, delirium, sickness, and then death. And I'm trying to get him to see past stage 1 because that's what's glorified when you're young. You see stage 1, you experience stage 1. And I'm hoping, because I take him to NA meetings, I take him to AA meetings. He came to our family camp. I mean, he knows the AA literature as well as any of us do. He can recite the 12 steps. He can all that. All I can do as a parent is plant the seeds, pray, and hope for the best, and hope that he does not choose addiction. But knowing full well that if he does choose addiction, he will be in an AA and NA room one day, expressing his desire that he wishes he could go back and do it all over again and not do what he was warned about. Because that's where it leads. If you don't end up in death, you pop out of jail or pop out of a institution or a hospital and you wind up in an AA meeting with your eyes wide open. And there's nothing I can do about it but plant seeds. So I pray every day that he doesn't. I pray for you too. I know you can agonize on it, lose sleep over it, worry, it's stressful. It's annoying. Wish I'd have never had kids.
I think that the best we can do is let him know that there's consequences for his actions and pray.
Nothing stopped me neither, Alicia, until I was 40. And I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I took myself to the hospital. Well, my dad took me to the hospital because I was too drunk. Oh, man, I bet you had a beat in your head then. Yeah. What's Millie talking about?
Millie wants Linky to go hang out. You don't want to.
She's watching screen videos.
Ooh, the rock and roll stage. LT, how many times did you get through a medical detox? I went through it one time, and it was just 6 months ago, August 19th of 2019. I went for 4 days. Other than that, I never entered another detox center. I got thrown in jail and detoxed off. I was dope sick in jail coming off meth. And then weed, when I quit that when I was 28, because I had to get a job that had drug tests, I just quit cold turkey. Just weed, But I didn't realize how tired and lazy coming off weed was. I was like I couldn't get up on the wall and do stucco without smoking bowl. What was that? Sweet. What?
It just looks like I'm talking to myself. This is Millie. She's really missing Link right now. It's not me.
She's watching screen videos.
That's our daughter in the other room.
She's trying to bribe him
on her YouTube account, trying to talk to Link. For those of you who don't know. Troy, did you have to go through a bunch of detox centers, or have you done it a few times? And the only reason I did it is because of all the, you know how much I drank, and I kept reading stuff of quitting cold turkey and what it actually could kill you, Planting water seeds, got to do it, man. And all of us will pray for. We'll pray for you at the end of our show, or actually when it's James Fletcher's bedtime, we will read the daily reflections and we'll say a prayer, and we'll pray for that tonight. I wasn't struck wonderful just because I sobered up. That's true. It's the ism. We got to get rid of the ism, that dry drunk syndrome. You can take away the alcohol, but you're still stuck with the ism. 2 times, huh? I actually enjoyed it because I was so stressed out about work. I was hating work. I was hating being an alcoholic. Every morning living in guilt and shame for a good 2 years. Every morning. Going to work and every day of the on a certain day of the week, I have to get up and give briefings on the status of the things that I work on. Then I'd be up there with my papers and, my eyes are like this. I'm bloodshot trying to I know I still stink. And I'm trying to go through my papers and I'm like I'd try to lean on stuff to hold it. My hands would shake so bad. And I just started feeling guilty. So when I ended up in the hospital, it was a relief, man. The lights went out. They took my phone away. They put an IV in my arm, hydrated me. She said, grab that phone if you're hungry. And I did. The first day I wasn't too hungry, but the second day, boy, I was starving. And then she came and checked, or the nurses came in and checked on me every couple hours to make sure I wasn't hallucinating, freaking out, having seizures. The lights were out and I just relaxed and slept, put the TV on in the background. And I loved detox. I didn't mind jail either. I heard Nicole talking about her prison time. Once you're in there and you realize the door's locked and you ain't getting out, you just make the best of it. And that's what I did too. I learned Spanish and I became a house mouse. And then I ended up being the guy that got to cook the food and, not cook the food, go get the food, bring it and serve it and clean up the hallway. So when everybody had to lock down, I got to stay out till shift change and clean the pod, watch TV, just me and another dude. And then I ended up, they let us out to go play handball, and the cops would actually play handball against us. And I hit this, we're playing handball, whack, whack, and I hit this cop in the back of his neck twice, man. Big old purple marks, man. It was so funny. But that was just county jail. It wasn't prison, so it was pretty laid back.
That's funny. Speaking of smell, it wasn't a smell on his breath. It was like a smell coming out of your pores.
What it smelled like?
Black Velvet had this sour smell that I'll probably never forget. But vodka didn't have it, and beer didn't have it, and tequila didn't have it. Just that Black Velvet whiskey had this and I could smell it on him all the time.
I heard Troy Flickinger drank a ton of Black Velvet too, right, Troy?
Did you have that sour smell?
No, he didn't. He hates Black Velvet. I loved Black Velvet, man. That stuff was sweet and yummy. Hey, Crystal. Yes. I was just wondering. I was just looking at my TikTok, see if you wrote me back, and look at that. You showed up. I told you. So what we do, let me show you real quick, Crystal. My little advertisement we got here, and Sober James is the creator of this thumbnail. I'm still trying to get good at thumbnails like he does. So we're doing it because all the AA, NA meetings are all that. You know what I told you on there. But at 6 o'clock, you got Nicole, you got Sober James at 7, and then we come here on the late show at 8 o'clock, and we just talk about recovery. It's a place you can pop in. Everybody in these comments section here, they know what's up, and they're here to support us. And it's kind of cool because once you see somebody not in the comments, you're like, man, I hope they're doing good. We get Veronica, she's going through a thing. She's 5 days sober, and she's got a sponsor now, and we just encourage each other. We laugh, we cry. I don't cry. You guys cry.
He's a teddy bear. Sometimes he cries.
But yeah, we're glad you're here. Welcome. Comment anything you want. And as James would say, do the damn thing. What'd you say? You have 3 years under your belt? Crystal? No jail, but detox would have been better, but place had crazy people in there. People with my detox center was amazing. It was called Lakeview, right? Lakeview?
Yeah.
Lakeview Hospital in Bountiful. I spent 3 nights, or either 3 nights and 2 days, or 2 nights and 3 days, or 3 nights and 4 days. I don't remember hardly checking into the place. He was there. You want to tell him that? How did I act when I checked into the hospital? You remember?
You were out of this world when you checked into the hospital.
What did he say to Grandpa when he came and picked him up?
Oh, on the way to the hospital. On the way? Or at the
Whatever you remember, bud.
Okay, so
We're testing your memory.
on the way to the hospital, Dad's sitting in the passenger seat, hallucinating, surprised that his dad's with him. He's crying because his dad's right next to him. He's all, I have a dad, and he is right here.
When I went to check myself in the detox, they told me to go sleep it off. I was too drunk to enter the facility. So my dad, instead of bringing me here back to the house where I would have probably just ran off to the liquor store or something,
Went to the hotel.
took me to a hotel and basically held me prisoner in the hotel, which I glad he did. And so I just hit the bed and he didn't hold me prisoner. I'm just joking, but I slept it off and then he took me back and they admitted me.
I nearly cried.
You're making me cry.
So Alicia, what was your drug of choice? How'd you get clean? What's your little story? Not little, but what's your story? 5 days is definitely awesome. I hope she pops in here. I want to congratulate her on her sponsor listening. Just like James says, we can hang it up, turn the power off. Our job is done here.
Like I just said, made. Delicate list, but made.
Crystal, 3 years.
Mine too. I came off meth, woke up being called sleepy, got it tattooed right there. It says sleepy right there. So I was done with the CD player motor, a bent paper clip sharpened on the cement, and then we took hair food, lit it on fire, gathered the soot, created ink, and that's how that happened. 4 nights, 5 days. Nice.
I am being so dramatic right now. Link is making me cry.
Millie, come here.
Look at her little sad faces.
For those of you just joined, Fleece is not texting this stuff, as you can tell. It's Millie in the bedroom trying to get him to come hang out.
She's watching scary videos.
That's funny.
She's not very good at watching them. She's watching us, trying to get you to go in there. Come here. You guys want to see something?
Are you really crying?
Something dramatic?
Why are you crying? Oh boy.
Someone's got the waterworks.
Having a daughter is so different than having boys.
See, sometimes you just need a hug.
With an 8-month-old, you ended up homeless? So Alicia says that meth, and she ended up homeless with an 8-month-old and went to a shelter for women in treatment. Wow. That meth is wicked. It's the devil.
Yeah, where's your unicorn?
Troy said, go get your unicorn, Millie. No?
Yeah, it's your unicorn.
Oh, it is my unicorn. She got it for me for Valentine's Day. So it's my unicorn, Troy. She can't touch it. Yeah, she's very sensitive, Murd. Show him your big alligator tears, honey.
You don't want to show him?
So did Nicole or James say that how long they were going to plan on doing this? We probably should coordinate and talk. My plan is 8 o'clock every night till the end of the world, or until our AA and NA meetings start coming back. From what I keep reading and the stuff I keep researching, this is not over yet. We have not hit our peak. We watched a documentary on the Spanish flu last night after we got off here. Watched a documentary on the Spanish flu of 1918 through 1920.
That's crazy.
We're taking the right measures. All these lockdown measures we're doing, social distancing is the right thing. Hey, Polly, if you're watching, Philadelphia was hit the hardest back in 1918 because they went ahead and had a parade for World War I believe.
Yeah, it's like a fundraiser.
A fundraiser for World War
troops.
I. Philadelphia decided to disregard the
Watch
social
the show.
distancing order that was put in place during the Spanish flu, and Philadelphia was the hardest hit out of the whole nation. Almost wiped Philly off the map. You're welcome, Bob. We're glad you're here, and we love doing it. I like doing it because it keeps me sober, keeps my mind on recovery, and And I love hearing stories too of people that are succeeding and surviving. I love it. Okay.
They won't.
Is crocodile tears a bad thing?
I don't know. That made me question it too. I just thought it meant really big tears.
Yeah, me too. Oh, did you see it? Yeah, that's
crazy.
that was insane. 16 years, man, that's good. I don't think anybody in the chat's been sober that long. That's awesome.
What is that?
It's the hazard sign, I think. Congrats on the 16 years. So the Nation, this came out, when did this come out? I can't see the date on it. Oh, okay, 3/17/20. The nation's opioid addiction treatment system during COVID-19 needs to be reformed. So the CDC officials are encouraging people to have a 2-week stock on their medication. Unfortunately, for people taking medications for opioid use disorder, this simply may not be possible without critical federal intervention. For people who use drugs or are in a treatment for opioid use disorder, the threat posed by COVID-19 may seem remote compared to the immediate risk of overdose, painful drug withdrawal, or the risk of HIV, viral hepatitis, or abscesses that can result from a disruption in harm reduction or effective treatment services. Wow. So they don't want to take the drugs away from like Suboxone and stuff like that. I think what they call it, buprofen, whatever that word is, methadone, all those things that are helping people come off opiates. They can't just give them a 2-week supply. They're addicts, but then they can't cut them off of it because then they're just going to relapse. So there's a huge thing right now about what do we do with the addicts who are on maintenance treatment? Nicole, do you got any suggestions on that? That came from The Hill. It's an article in The Hill. I'll put it in the...
Have any of you been impacted by anything like that? If you're going through maintenance treatment?
I've always worried, and I've asked the doctor, you out of here?
Your sister's going to be so happy.
Good job, buddy.
He's such a good big brother.
Give her a hug for us.
He's got a tender heart. Bob said he's got an audience, including some practicing addicts.
Where?
Bob Smith. Mr. Smith. Mr. Anderson.
Talk about recovery. Your audience includes a couple of practicing addicts. People that are in their current addiction right now, how to quit. I got the speaks up. I don't understand what that means.
He's got the speakers up. I'm assuming it means that.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Oh, yeah, Bob. He's the one that's holding
Yeah.
addicts hostage. Isn't that what James said?
Him and Raina. They got.
Oh, yeah, Raina too.
Raina's got some inmates.
Amos, come sit down. Ash, this is our son I was talking about. Let's talk about not doing drugs and the bad things of drugs. Let's go over an article right here. Fleece sent me an article I think Bob will enjoy.
Was this the effects of alcohol
Dang
on the
it.
brain?
Yeah, the effects of alcohol on the brain. This is Amos, everybody. Amos, say hello.
Hello.
You can ask him questions too, what it was like dealing with me when I was a full-blown drunk con. Don't have to stare at yourself. You can stare at the camera.
I'm looking at you,
I'm right here.
but I'm looking at you on the TV and the you behind you.
The W's.
When a person consumes alcohol above and beyond moderate levels, it can be damaging effects on the body and the brain, both short-term and permanently. Some of those effects, like slurred speech and diminished memory, can be quite clear. Others, long-term cellular damage to your brain, may not be so obvious. If you ever wonder what's really going on in a person's brain who had too much to drink, here's a brief primer. The experts who we spoke with agree. Most people shouldn't feel guilty about enjoying the occasional drink, but keep these effects in mind if you're tempted to overdo it. Short-term effects on the alcohol of the brain. Drinking alcohol alters the levels of the neurotransmitters in the brain. Addiction researcher and associate professor of psychiatry at Case Western University School, blah, blah, blah. The chemical messenger transmits signals throughout the body and plays a large role in controlling behavior, emotion, and physical activity. For starters, alcohol slows down the neurotransmitters, and that's what drives the sluggish movement, slurred speech, and slow reaction time in someone who's intoxicated. At the same time, she adds alcohol speeds up the neurotransmitters called glutamate, which is responsible for regulating dopamine in the brain's reward center. It is generating feelings of pleasure and well-being, and that's why you might get that warm, fuzzy feeling when you're drinking. Alcohol lowers ambitions. It clouds the judgment. Binge drinking also affects the cerebellum, which helps regulate balance, and the cerebral cortex. That's why you get the dizzy stagger, the blurred double vision. Let's look at some long-term effects. Long-term effects is binge drinking can certainly put you at risk for embarrassment, injury, or poor decisions. I can attest to all of the above. But you make it through a wild night, you're nothing worse than a hangover. You may think you're in the clear. Unfortunately, a heavy drinker becomes a regular thing. That's not the case. According to a 2008 study, heavy drinkers over a long period of time seems to actually shrink the brain volume. So your brain literally shrinks. The study found that people who had more than 14 drinks per week over a 20-year time frame had 1.6% smaller brains than those who were non-drinkers. Overall, the association was slightly stronger in women than, well, duh.
That's why I don't drink. I wanted a bigger brain.
Heavy drinking also may speed up memory loss in early old age, at least in men. There's our part. According to the 2014 study, the Journal of Neurology, men in the study who had more than 2.5 drinks a day experienced signs of cognitive decline up to 6 years earlier than those who did not drink. Wow. People who drink regularly all may notice the booze doesn't have the same effect. Yeah. With chronic drinking, you got to drink more to get the reward. Your brain drops that dopamine as soon as you drink, and your body builds a tolerance, just like any other drug that we do. You build that tolerance. That's why opioids scare the crap out of me. And when people do opioids, they build that tolerance, and they're trying to get that first high, chasing the dragon type thing. And they just do too much. And opiates, that'll kill you. And then if you quit and you relapse and you go straight, even that can happen with alcohol too. They like your hoodie.
Oh yeah, that's I showed it up while you were reading.
If you relapse and you just go straight back to what you remember doing, your body ain't ready for it, you're dead. Wu-Tang.
Yeah, that was all the crazy stuff I was researching while I was drinking.
Troy, yes, you have a nicer beard than I do.
Mine's better than both yours.
And it would freak me out because I already have a kid with brain damage. I was like, I'm going to have a husband with brain damage.
Yeah, so she's afraid of me getting brain damage. And
freaked me out.
You guys know Link's story. He's got brain damage. I was up to where a pint, if I drank a pint, most people that didn't know me didn't know I had even been drinking unless they smelled it. But I could drink a fifth easy. I never even got sick anymore. I would drink more than a fifth and wouldn't get sick. I'd just wake up and all of a sudden I was somewhere I don't remember being. I remember like one of the last times I had a blackout, I was in here drinking and all of a sudden I woke up and I was in our motorhome. And it was the weirdest thing because I looked up and you know how there's mirrors in the bedrooms of trailers and stuff? I looked up and I saw myself in the mirror and for a split second I thought I was in Las Vegas. I was like, how did I get here? It was a trip. And I woke up, oh dang, I'm in the motorhome.
So there's another article, speaking of that I used to read. And it's about 10 things to stop doing if you love an alcoholic. And one of the things was
Damn.
Where is it?
That's a lot, man.
Was it enabling?
No, Troy was drinking a half gallon every 2 days.
Oh, dang, that's crazy. But one of the things was to just not enable. That was one of them, was to just leave you where you were. And to like if he it said if they pass out on the lawn, just leave them there. So I just started letting him just pass out where he was.
I remember that one time me and Zion had to carry you in the couch into the house. Was that me and Zion or me
Yeah,
and Nick?
enabling.
Silent.
Oh yeah, because that was after you fell down the stairs, huh?
Yeah. So we were at her.
That scared me, man.
I loved it when her father-in-law would send me a picture of booze because we knew we would tie one on. And I got a picture. What was it? What party was it?
That was
What,
I think that was
remind me what you're
Easter.
talking about?
No, that was after. That was the Easter after. Because I remember the bounce house was there or something.
We're playing ping pong. I don't know. She had a family party at her mom and stepdad's house. I get a picture of about 5 fifths of whiskey and all other kinds of crap. And I remember the last thing I remember is taking like a double shot of whiskey and started playing ping pong. And then I woke up in the bed here at the house. We weren't here. And I tried to get out of bed and my knee wouldn't bend. And I was like, oh, are we late for work? And I'm like, what's wrong with my leg? And she's like, what? You don't remember?
That was like New Year's.
Was it New Year's?
Yeah.
I don't know what day it was. I don't remember that day at all. But apparently I went in the bathroom, fell down. I was like the most drunk I think I've ever been in my life. Fell down. I hit my head on the toilet. I broke the toilet. I broke the sink. And then I went and we were leaving apparently. And I fell down there a huge flight of stairs because I wanted to go say bye to Gramps and tore my ACL.
He pranced down the stairs because he didn't think he was drunk. And then flew down the half flight of stairs and landed on the floor. Funniest part, it wasn't funny, but funniest part was Gramps did not budge from his chair.
Oh,
he
man,
was,
Gramps
he was
is
watching TV and like oblivious to everything that had just happened.
I do have a flashback of that night of being piled up at the bottom of the stairs and like half whimpering or something. And I asked my other son, my middle son, I pulled him in. I was like, oh, just lay by me. And then I guess Jim, her stepdad, and his oldest boy, who's 18, 19 now, they had to literally carry me to the truck and throw me in the truck, got home, and then him and my middle son and Felice had to carry me into the house. That was one of my last good benders.
I think the drunkest I've ever seen you besides that was when you went to go get detoxed. And you asked the one lady who was asking you questions, and you're, how much do you make a year?
How much do you make at your job? I was being a belligerent.
Dude, you had a freaking cowboy hat on and shorts in the doctor's office. And you're all, can I vape in here? She's all, no. You're all, okay.
So I was vaping in the doctor's office in a cowboy hat and shorts the day I checked in. Thanks for telling on me.
Oh, so I found the article about enabling. It says, for example, if your loved one passes out in the yard and you carefully help him into the house and into bed, only you feel the pain. The focus then becomes what you did, moved him, rather than what he did, which is passing out. And if in the situation he wakes up in the lawn in the morning with neighbors peeking out the window and comes into the house while you and the kids are happily eating breakfast, he is left with the pain. The only thing left for him to face is his own behavior. In other words, his behavior rather than your reaction to the behavior becomes the focus. It is only when he experiences his own pain that he will feel a need to change. And I that's some advice I took, except for
That's
when we
good
had
advice.
to make you come in the house. So I did. I backed off and tried not to enable. I only enabled when I had to, like if he had to come home. I think I even left you at my mom's house once because you refused to get in the car.
Oh, yeah.
And then made my sister bring you home.
Alicia brought me home.
I was mad at
Hey,
her. I
I
was like,
fell up
don't
the
bring her
stairs
home.
today.
Yeah.
I fell up the stairs today. That happened to me.
He was sober.
Uh-huh.
I hope.
I was.
Ash, she's in this chat. She has a son and she's worried about him using and asked me if I was worried. And I said, yeah, I was worried about you using.
Did you see that question already for you, bud? I think that's for you.
Oh. Read it out loud so that the.
I got a question for him. As the younger generation, how difficult is it for you guys to resist those temptations? Is sober considered cool? It really depends on the crowd you hang out with. Like, if you're with all the cool kids, they're gonna want you to smoke weed and like do pills.
The who, what, the what kids?
The cool kids, the considered cool kids. Like, I used to hang out with those guys a lot. I never like pursued pills. and I never really got offered them or anything else higher than weed or marijuana. Like that's the only thing I ever really did. And I only like did shots, and that was with like my dad's stuff when he would go to sleep. And I like, and like those were like empty bottles with like little bits in them, and I was pouring out the littlest bits that they had left, and I never even got anything from it. But other than that, no, like temptations are really hard to turn down because peer pressure is such a big thing nowadays to try to get you to do things to try to make you fit in, and like nowadays with kids who want to fit into an older crowd, and with like it becoming more of a legal thing and people thinking it's okay, it's like hey, you want to try smoking weed with me? And like for me, like I grew up and I was like, when I was younger I always thought weed was a bad thing. Then I got older and I was just like, man, it's not really that bad of a thing. I haven't really heard about people dying from it.
So nothing's changed since I was a kid. So the cool thing to do in general at school is to be a druggie kind, or to try drugs is cool.
Yeah, well, at least to experiment with them. Like if you're like a full-blown like druggy kid, you know, like has a crackhead family, you're considered like an outsider type of person.
So if it reaches, but if you're a cool partier that just tries it on the weekends at parties, you're cool.
Yeah.
And encouraged to do so. So because of marijuana being legal, everybody thinks it's cooler. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Or that it's not bad.
That it's not bad. And, you know,
Is it still bad if it's illegal?
I don't know.
That's what he just said. Sometimes it just depends on the crowd. That's how it was when I was a kid too. It depended on the crowd, and the crowd that I wanted to be around was the drug using crowd. It should be cool to be sober. I think so too, but it's not. Oh, dude, I bet that was a trip. I hope so. I hope you're right on that one, James. But from what I've seen, just around my neighborhood, and the stuff I come across on cell phones, I don't think so. What I liked when I go to AA or NA meetings, and it's happened a couple of times, but this old timer, 60 plus years old, has had 30 years of sobriety under his belt. He's given a coin to a guy that's got a year under his belt, and he says he loves coming to NA and AA, hearing stories of guys that have just barely gotten clean by the newcomers, and hearing the exact same stuff, that nothing has changed over the course of 30, 40 years, that the drug, the addiction, and the stories are still the same, just a different generation. I don't think there's going to be much of a difference, and I don't think it's going to I think it's only getting worse. And the scary part is the science behind making the drugs. Like we talked about a couple nights ago, weed is not like it used to be. I haven't found stems and seeds in weed for years. I remember getting dirt weed where we had to separate all that stuff. You can't even find that no more.
It's all made in labs now.
Yeah.
I got dab now. You don't even have to worry about
Yeah,
that.
dab? What? Whoa.
That stuff's a trip.
That stuff's crazy. Crazy. Let's read this real quick. We read it the other night. I think we read it last night too. So who is an addict? Most of us do not have to think twice about this question. We know. Our whole life and thinking was centered on drugs in one form or another, the getting and using and finding ways and means to get more. We live to use, we use to live. Very simple. An addict is a man or a woman whose life is controlled by drugs. We are people in the grip of continuing and progressive illness whose ends are always the same: jails, institutions, and death.
I like how here's Mom shirt says blessed not.
That says not today, Satan.
Watch. That better?
Not today, Satan.
What's yours say?
It says good vibes, good or goodbyes.
Good vibes or goodbye. Oh, I like that.
I'm just wearing a hoodie. I don't have a shirt on.
So true. Do you guys think that what's glorified on TV has a lot to do with what's cool and what's not cool to a kid?
I almost think it's personality too, because
I do.
I was around the same stuff my brother was around, but to me it was terrifying, and to him it was exhilarating.
Your
know what I
brother
mean?
wanted to be an addict and you didn't. Is that what you said?
I guess I didn't even like, because when I was around it since I was smaller than Millie's age, but it always was just terrifying. So I don't know. Depends on personality almost.
Yeah, my sister was the same way. She didn't ever really. I got her to do some drugs, but she never really ever got into it like I did.
I think I was more afraid of getting in trouble than he was.
I was never afraid of getting in trouble until I saw the cops. Then I was like, ah!
There was something about getting spanked that I did not want. And he didn't. I don't know.
And that's another thing right there. Polly brings up a good point. You don't know what the hell's in drug today, and with fentanyl being laced in damn near everything, I think that's what this one article, the further down into it you get. Command F if you guys want to search something. Not in there? Oh.
Is that really how fentanyl is spelled?
I think
That
it's like
looks
a pH.
That looks like.
How do you spell it? Alexa, how do you
pH.
spell fentanyl?
Fitness is spelled
Alexa, stop.
Alexa's so stupid.
She's dumb.
It'd be like
Try-
F-E-T.
It's not with
Alexa,
a
how do you
PH.
spell
How do you spell fentanyl? You guys know,
Sorry,
right?
what word was that?
Alexa, how do you spell fentanyl?
It's fentanyl.
Fitness is spelled.
Stop. Alexa,
F.
stop.
Uh,
I'm done.
Fitness is spelled.
Alexa, stop.
F.
My goodness.
Oh, there it is. Fentanyl.
How do you spell it?
With the F. Fentanyl.
Oh, right there. Social exceptions for more than a day's worth of medication need individual states federal missing. Methadone doses puts individuals at risk for reoccurrence of their opioid use disorder, as well as returning to potentially lethal, illicit manufactured drugs such as fentanyl. So the fact that during this COVID-19, things are all getting scary and hairy for people who are coming off opiates and on maintenance medications. If they relapse, all the crap on the street right now, just like you said, laced with weed, fentanyl, they could go back to fentanyl. And so they're worried about not only the increase in deaths because of COVID, but drug users relapsing and the deaths increasing because of relapse. It's crazy. Oh, wow. That's crazy, Ash. Really? Alicia? Here. She is dumb. She can't even hear what I say sometimes.
If we say it is okay, it's dumb.
It's a female voice. It's been a long time since I went to Harvard Medical School. Probably I can't spell it all. I made a comment on somebody's channel and he told me I was stupid because he's like, why are you even commenting? You're so dumb you can't even spell. I was like, oh well. I can't believe how potent it is. They showed like a little chunk next to a penny, and that was enough to kill somebody. And these guys, they told that it's cool, and the kid probably got it from his brother who got it from some other dude, and they don't know what's in it, and they're just smoking it because they think it's cool. And boom, imagine that if you were smoking with one of your friends, and he hits the deck and dies, and you're high. Holy cow. I'm scared of drugs today. Wow, dude, Troy, me and you have a lot of very similar stories. We've been together a good almost 12, 13 years, and same thing. I think she's been drunk a couple times, and I've been drunk enough for everybody. My spelling's off every day, Polly. It is sketch, bro.
Dude, you know what's weird, Dad?
What?
Is I don't have any memories of you drinking at all when I was little. Like,
I didn't.
Like it was probably because you were like super into fitness and you seen beer and you're like, calories.
Calories. I was trying to make gains.
Dude, you were
Wow.
making gains, dude. You looked like an ox.
I was big for a minute. Yeah, I didn't start drinking until he was 10 years old, 10 or 11. He never saw me drink or nothing until he turned 10 or 11. And then just
No.
like anything I do, I take
No.
it full
I
bore.
was like 8 or 9 because remember when we first moved out of the old house, you had your friend move in there and you guys made that fire. And that's when you were like drinking a little bit. And I mean like,
I don't know what you meant by that, Troy. Take out, put in that. Catch me outside. How about that?
bro, she makes music now.
I know. She got rich on me.
What
Well,
do you want
all the
now?
addicts are packing up to leave. The daughter, her girlfriend, and now the boyfriend. I'll be down 3 addicts pretty quick. Bye.
Get your hell out.
Yeah, I did have that. You know I did. I should have put that picture in here. I wonder if I can upload a picture real quick. Let me see if it'll let me. I
No,
tried
get
this
off me.
one other time, and it didn't work.
Jack, you're gonna catch me
Where is it?
with no line.
Oh, I lost my page.
Oh man, now of course I can't find the picture. Looks like it's gonna let me do it, but I can't find the picture. Random pictures? There it is. Oh, and of course this is that. Bye bye, Kenny. I'll show you guys a little picture of what I used to look like back in the Dizzy.
We all have to move. I don't know what to do. Under the earthquake.
I'll go get some coffee. Nah, you can't see it. Just believe me. That was
Wait,
huge.
Dad.
And it may or not been juice. I cannot confirm nor deny. No, I can.
Oh, Dad, I was like doing your thing. Look, Dad, look.
Nice.
You reach another cup, Dad?
No, sir. I'm good. Thank you, son. Down to 9. And then there were 9.
Still have 2 teenagers.
I agree with Alicia. Don't let him back, Bob. Sideways Bob, how do you deal with that as being an addict or an alcoholic? How do you stay sober? I don't think that I would last very long around. If I was in a house full of drunks, I could maybe last a night or 2. But I'll guarantee you by night 3, I'm
If you had
drinking.
Mom there, dude. Mom would
Bob,
smack
I'm
you.
going to copy this link.
Yeah, send it.
I think it applies to more than just alcoholics.
I think we lost Ash. She got mad at me for yelling at Alexa.
Sorry,
Alexa, stop.
my stuff never shows up. Maybe if I put Bob first.
Smith, are you
Bob.
Silent Bob?
I love that movie, Jay and Silent Bob.
I've asked him on the podcast or on this live feed, and he says no, he doesn't talk. So maybe. It's already been an hour.
I know. I'm trying.
Holy cow! Time's flying.
Works when Millie puts comments, just not when I put comments. Maybe because she's still logged in.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. This world's gone to hell in a handbasket. They're worried about the addicts not getting the treatment they need. So I hope this actually helps people. You ready for bed, James? If you are, we'll do it. We'll go late, Polly. It's Saturday night. We ain't got nothing to do. We're on lockdown. They're encouraging everybody to pretty much stay home if you don't need to go out. I mean, they haven't called in the National Guard or nothing yet, but and I think as a community, it's our duty to stay home and not spread. He hasn't been feeling good, you know. Who knows if we're systematic carriers and are spreading the virus. Group book study. You want to do a group? Oh, you're going to do a group book study? All right, let's read the daily reflection and say the Serenity Prayer.
It hates me.
March 21, material and spiritual well-being. Fear of economic insecurity will leave us. Ooh, this is kind of good for the moment being, huh? Having fear reduced or eliminated and having economic circumstances improve are two different things. When I was new in AA, I had those two ideas confused. I thought fear would leave me only when I started making money. However, another line from the big book jumped off the page one. Okay, let me read that again. However, another line from the big book jumped off the page one day when I was chewing on a financial difficulties. For us, material well-being always followed spiritual progress. It never preceded. I suddenly understood that this promise was guaranteed. I saw that it put priorities in the correct order, that spiritual progress would diminish that terrible fear of being destitute, just as it diminished many other fears. Today, I try to use the talents God gave me to benefit others. I have found that it is what others valued all along. I try to remember that I no longer work for myself. I only get the use of the wealth God created. I never have owned it. My life's purpose is much clearer when I just work to help, not to possess. So when we put in the time to earn and possess things, it's not as valuable as it is to just work to help and let the finances fall where they may. I like that. Bring it, Bob. Go late tonight, honestly. In some ways, I'm going to kind of insane and kind of need to interact face to face with other humans. I'm just having the shame and quiet. Well, yeah, I feel you, brother. Yeah, we'll hang out here with you, man. Anybody want to say, hey, what's up with Polly? Polly, let us know what you're going through. And I'm sure somebody in the comments will have something for you as well. Link, come and say the prayer with us. Let's pray for Ash's son, too. She's probably not even in the comments anymore.
Very weird.
Front hands?
Sure. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. And please, God, be with our children, that they may not grow up to be addicts like us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
He goes like this. Daddy slowly reaches over and goes.
Oh, I hate being in a crowded apartment with people. Amen, James. You have a good group study. Bring us that wisdom tomorrow night, which you learned tonight.
Hi, Millie.
Night, brother.
This is hello.
All right, I quit.
Amen. So you're worried about relapse? Are you by yourself right now, Polly? Or are you over at your mom's place? Rarely have we seen a person who fell who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot and will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. They are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorder, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Awesome. I hope it plants seeds, and I hope it works. Kicking Wing, is that Xylan? I would imagine that's Xylan.
No, it's me.
Oh, that's you?
Yeah.
Where's your phone?
Right here.
Oh.
That's what I was doing that whole time while you were reading. Set up a new account.
I can't get my article to send to Bob. Oh well.
Do you know who Kickin' Wing is?
No.
He's the Native American dude from Joe Dirt. He's all snakes and sparklers. He's all, why do you only sell snakes and sparklers? He's like, they're the only ones I like. He's like, but it's not about what you like. It's about the consumer.
Awesome.
He's all, I bet that's Xylan. I'm like, really? You think
Well, I didn't know you were sitting there talking on your
Dude,
phone.
I was on my phone the whole time.
Yeah, good on you, Polly. So that's 2 things you declined today. Did you say a bonfire and going out to have drinks? I don't know about you people in Philly. You guys almost died in the 1918 flu epidemic because of that parade. It's probably best y'all just stay inside.
Dude, wait, I got a question for Polly. Did the people that invited you know that you're sober
That's a good
or
question.
know that you're clean? Because if they know, that's just kind of messed up. Like, to be honest, if they're inviting you to go out and get drinks, like, even if they are trying to be nice, but if they know you're like dedicated and you want to stay clean, that's kind of messed up on their part for inviting you to go out to drinks. Like,
I circled it from last time. Was it Troy that told us to read this last time
I
too?
think so. I think it's his favorite.
Yeah, Polly, are you being honest with everybody? Because that's closing. You might have said no to them, but do they know that you're trying to stay sober and recover? Are you being honest with them, closing back doors? Alcoholics Anonymous, page 417, second paragraph. And acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact of my life unacceptable to me. And I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it is supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing, happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Unless I accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world as what needs to be changed in me and in my attitudes. That is an awesome paragraph. I love that paragraph.
oh wow, he like
What do you do at your house, Bob?
took their Ouija board
Summoning
and headed
the-
out. Don't let the screen door hit you.
Not today, Satan. Not today.
Satan. Take your
Freaking
Ouija board and
boards.
get
I
out.
watched the Ouija movie and it scared me. I stood it like,
Movie theaters shut down around here too. Well, Polly, I would suggest that you tell everybody you're in recovery. That's the thing I did. I went to work and I said, hey, guess what? Some were surprised, some were not surprised. Other than that, I don't think there's a person out there that I haven't told. I've told everybody. And that's part of closing the back doors, because one day you might be having this moment and the wrong friend that doesn't know calls you and you'll just slip off with them and go and end up right back on the streets doing your thing. And that's about closing back doors. You got to close those back doors, Polly. Awesome. She likes page 417 as well.
dude, one guy quoted it. Look, Troy, he's all LT reading.
That's why I read it.
That was crazy. I was like,
Troy knows what's up.
oh, I thought he said you were reading it. I'm like, dang.
Oh.
I was like, geez.
That's true. It always is up here, man. You need to go back, and I need to go back. When I'm having a bad day, that 1 week ago, not this week because we've been doing this every night, so I've had this awesome cushion of recovery. But the week prior, I was in character defects, man. I was being living in self-pity, self-condemnation, in discontentment with work. I wasn't happy exactly with the way things were. And I wasn't, I didn't accept that things and situations were exactly the way that they were supposed to be, because that's the way God meant it to be. Haven't really reached out to some friends. I mean, I'm 40, Some friends are married with kids and some are single. I ain't 25 anymore. That's true. Yeah, I don't have the same type of friends either. But I made sure they all know because I know I would slip back in a heartbeat with the wrong person. That's a good start too. Deleting numbers, changing numbers, disconnecting from
I'd be really
Old.
surprised if you changed your number. You've had your same number for like 16 years.
Yeah, I've had my same phone number
Yeah.
for a long time.
I've had mine since I was 16.
M&M's, huh? What about Kit Kats?
Hey, whoa. You got to read the whole thing. You got to read the whole like wrapper, otherwise you're going to get copyrighted. Tell them, guys.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a crispy wafer milk chocolate bar. It's king size. Its net weight is 3 ounces. It's a Kit Kat. It's got a red label and yellow thing. And it's pretty cool. 160 calories per 3 fingers.
Who makes it?
Made by Hershey, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, now you got to read a whole Hershey thing.
By no way is this video sponsored by Kit Kat.
There you go. With the homies.
Yeah.
Dang, that's where it really hits home. Is like when they say the homies. I miss hanging out with my homies.
Because all your homies are potheads.
Yeah.
They bringing that much agony to you, Bob? Troy, he's got one of those.
Kit Kats?
Yeah, Troy chose
Those are Linky's
Reese's over Snickers the other day. I remember that. Polly had the choice. I said Snickers. Troy said Reese's. I dig Reese's too, but Snickers, I don't know. I think that's my go-to candy bar right there.
Did anybody else do the eyeballs with the Reese's? You poke out the middle and you make like eyeballs.
Absolutely.
That was the best.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, my favorite candy right now is the Airhead super sour thingies with like they got like the sour stuff in the middle, but they're like rainbow colored. They're really good.
Bob, you're funny guy.
What do you say?
I do wish this crop of addicts called my family would hit the lotto or something.
I feel you, bro. We kicked an addict out of here. He hasn't been back for a while.
Who?
Oh, you know who.
You invited him over.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that night.
That night. Christmas.
Was that Christmas?
That was Christmas.
It was a Friday night.
On
when I
Christmas!
On Christmas! That Christmas sucked when you shot me in the butt.
It didn't even hurt.
But
These guys are
you
such
got hit in the
pussies.
bra strap. You can't even say anything.
It didn't even hurt. A bunch
Dude,
of crybabies.
That
in
hurt.
the
I
South.
got hit in the butt and in the back. And the dad's like, you guys can shoot me. And I shot him right in the back and the neck. He's all, ah.
My mom is shot in a bra strap.
I don't have the 12 for 12, Troy.
I kind of regret it. I wanted to shout with him.
It's the only book I don't have that I need.
If I could go
But I
back
can
in
look
time,
it
I
up.
would have shot him there. It would have been like,
How long was it?
91, third paragraph. Our
Yes.
first objectives will be the development of self-restraint.
don't you touch my chair.
This carries a top priority rating.
I'm gonna check first.
Shh. When we speak or act hastily or rashly, the ability to be fair-minded and tolerant evaporates on the spot. One unkind triad or one willful snap judgment can ruin our relation with one another person for a whole day, or with another person for a whole day, or maybe a whole year. Nothing pays off like restraint of tongue and pen. We must avoid quick-tempered criticism and furious power-driven argument. The same goes for sulking or silent scorn. There are emotional booby traps baited with pride and vengefulness. Our first job is to sidestep the traps. When we are tempted by the bait, we should train ourselves to step back and think. For we can neither think nor act to good purpose until the habit of self-restraint has become automatic. PTA, pause, think, act. Self-restraint, that's good. The tongue is wicked. The book of James, it says the tongue is like a fire that destroys the whole man. It's like a rudder on a ship. It's small, but it steers the whole ship. It can be wicked and vicious. We have to train our mind. We have to step back. I always think of PTA, pause, think, act. I actually talked about this in my ILP, and I changed it to PPTA, pause, pray, think, act. Pause, think about what you're doing. Pray, oh God, help me with this one. Think about it, and then act. Let Amos sit there. He was sitting there, bud.
I told him he could.
Oh, okay.
I got you.
Dang, the truth hurts. How you feel that? What? He's got an automatic BB gun. His whole ceiling's peppered.
Remember how riddled our downstairs wall was?
Yes. Sweet. Yeah, my mind is. We are our own worst enemies. Do it. Do it. Whoa.
Mom, did you notice?
What?
She didn't know.
What did you guys do?
I always have to be the very worst or the very best. Top of the heap, hiding underneath. Yeah, me too, man. It's like when you're in a crowd at work or something and everybody's on the dirty joke rants. You always got to top the charts. I try not to do that anymore. I try to step back and practice this self-restraint, just like it says here. Our first objective will be the development. And I like the word that they use, development of self-restraint, because it is something that does not come natural. And when we've been through years and years of addiction, we've never even tried to have self-restraint. The only thing that, when they tried to restrain us from getting our drugs, we resisted that big time. So to restrain our own desire, to restrain that knee-jerk reaction, you know what I mean? That is not easy. And that is the top priority of what we need to do. When we speak or ask hastily or rashly, the ability to be fair-minded and tolerant evaporates. Just gone. Boom. One unkind triad or one willful snap judgment can ruin our relation with another person for a whole day, or maybe a whole year, or maybe forever. Yeah, I got some friends that our relationships, even though we love each other dearly, have never quite been the same. We must avoid quick-tempered criticism and furious power-driven argument. The same goes for sulking or silent scorn. Yeah. These are emotional booby traps, baited with pride and vengefulness, character defects, criticism. Our first job is to sidestep the traps, sidestep it. That first thought, get rid of it. Control your second thought. You can't control the first thought, control the second thought. When we're tempted by the bait, we should train ourselves to step back and think, for we can neither think nor act to do good purpose until the habit of self-restraint, the habit. It takes 14 days to create a habit.
Thought it was 12.
I heard 14. 12, 14.
I heard 12.
2 weeks about it makes to create a habit. And habits aren't easy to keep, man. What, you day 7, day 8, day 9, having to do the same thing every day.
I'm gonna Google it.
We're not even in a
Mom,
habit of doing this live feed yet. This is only day 5 or 6. This is day 6. We still got another 6 more days of this before this live feed thing becomes a habit. That's crazy. I love that. Troy, you are a knowledge of. Throw us another one to read. Let's give us another good one, Troy. Let's read that. Addicts are their own worst enemies. Our best thoughts got us to where we were, didn't they? We're only as healthy as our deepest secret.
Dang.
The shirt does say blessed.
And we were like way off. It's all. It takes more than 2 months before a new behavior becomes automatic.
2 months?
It says 66 days to be exact. And how long it takes a new habit to form can vary widely depending on the behavior of the person and the circumstances and some I don't know what that says. Study it took anywhere from 18 days to 254 days for people to form a new habit. So I guess it just really depends on who you are.
Yeah, and how bad you want to change.
Well,
So like an AA meeting, you get kudos for having the worst bottom, or at the board meeting, I tend to brag. Worst of the worst or top of the heap. Truth is an AM garden variety alcoholic drug addict. I know, and that always comes with exaggeration too. And when you start exaggerating and telling people you do things you actually really don't do, or you over exaggerate on what it is that you do, but you make it seem larger than life, then you're into the character defect of false pride. Now, why do we care about other people's opinions so bad anyway?
Because we're humans and we want
Not me.
acceptance from other people.
I know we want acceptance and love from everybody, but once we recognize that too and stop trying to gain other, like at work, I had a huge paradigm shift at work this last 6 months, and watching lower levels try to impress upper levels like makes me sicker than normal than it used to. Before it was like, oh look, he's a butt kisser, you know, wah. But now it's like they actually come to this place to try to impress those people who could care less about them. They'd fill their spots as soon as they you know, we're just another number at work. Why are we ranting and raving in our character defects to impress these people that we go home and give not another thought to? Though I do owe a lot to work, and I feel at that time the whole crew that was there in the 3 or 4, 6 different programs when he got in the accident, and the support we got from that, and was like amazing. They raised a lot of money to help us out because we were like $20,000 out of pocket for his medical bills, and they helped us cover a lot of that. And Xylans and
That's my medical bills.
you didn't get checked out?
No, dude, I like got I like full on somersaulted Bruce Lee out of that thing.
Yeah, I thought you got checked out at least.
who did you ride with to the hospital?
Aunt Joni. I rode with Aunt Joni to McCady, and then I rode with,
Yeah, why, Polly? Why did we do
I rode
that?
with the Viernos to primaries. No, but Dad, like what you said with like you're just another number at work, you know?
Yeah,
It's kind of like how they said it in Django. He's like, they're gonna take away your name, give you a number, give you a sledgehammer, and put you to work. Give you any sass, they're gonna cut your tongue out. And then he says, and if you die, he says, they're just gonna throw you in a hole. And then he said they're gonna fill your spot again.
yeah, that's all work is. And these people run around, their arrogance and their pride just makes me sick. I can't stand it anymore. 69, second paragraph. We reviewed our own conduct over the years past. Where had been selfish, dishonest, or inconsiderate? Where had we been selfish, dishonest, inconsiderate? Whom had we hurt? Did we unjustifiably arouse jealousy, suspicion, or bitterness? Were we at fault? What should we have done instead? We got this all down on paper and looked at it. Was that step 4? Searching and fearless. That's got to be about step 4, huh? Oh, that's right. That's chapter 5, how it works. I should probably read. I need to get this book. Write it down. Where were you wrong? I like that in step 4. It was like, okay, what was the conflict? What was how did you add to that? Raising suspicion. And
Dad, what did you need my hat for?
I was going to wear it, but it didn't match my shirt.
I'm gonna put it on because it matches my hoodie.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's finally clean.
Where had we been
Thank you,
selfish,
Marie.
dishonest, or inconsiderate? Whom had we hurt? Did we unjustifiably arouse jealousy, suspicion, or bitterness? Where were we at the fault? What should we have done instead? We got this all down on paper and looked at it. Is that the one you were talking about? That's page 69, the second paragraph.
I said wrong, page 69, second paragraph. That's What's the? I don't know.
I think I have a tail.
Well, that's it right there.
I have a tail. Look at my hat.
Lynn B says sometimes she cares what other people think, but sometimes I don't. Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The more I'm into this recovery and the older I get too, the less I care. Ego. The evil ego. The vice of pride. Yeah, pride is one of the deadly sins, right? I think for me, it's about my self-worth. Polly, that was for you. I can't figure out how, Alicia, I'm having a tough time with things. More so tougher than in the past. Honestly, my dad never drank or did drugs. I always did right in life. I wish I was just like him. Yep. But once we take, what's that saying? I bet you Troy could quote it. We will not regret the past nor the future. Is that how it works? Or is that,
But the future is yet to come.
why are we here? No, that's not it. It's page 69 of
How it works.
step 6.
Who's hungry? Dad, is that you?
What?
Whose stomach just went.
I'm probably on the wrong thing.
It wasn't my stomach.
Dad, was that you?
Yeah.
No.
You said 12 Steps and 12 Traditions is the book.
Dude, I need to put my finger. Fix it. Bob goes starving, Marvin.
Starving Marvin.
You hungry?
Okay, I think I found it.
More like lunchtime Leonard.
Does it start off with, let's dispose of what appears to be a hazardous open end we have left? It is suggested that we ought to become entirely willing to aim toward perfection. We note that some delay, however, might be pardoned. That word, in the mind of rationalizing alcoholic, could certainly be given a long-term meaning. He could say, how very easy. Sure, I'll head towards perfection, but I'm certainly not going to hurry any. Maybe I can postpone dealing with some of my problems indefinitely. Of course, this won't do. Such bluffing oneself will have to go the way of many other pleasant rationalizations. At the very least, we shall have to come to grips with some of our worst character defects and take action toward their removal as quickly as we can. Well, if that's not the right page and paragraph, that's still a good one. We shall have to come to grips with some sort of worst character defects and take action toward their removal. It's all about the character defects. It's crazy. Once you get into recovery and you start doing this 12-step thing and you're in there, you forget that you're there to be sober. And then you realize you're there to counsel yourself into good habitual thinking and to become a better person. And then you're like, oh yeah, I came to this to get sober. I had that experience when I was in my IOP. I forgot towards the end that being a drunken alcoholic was why I entered the place and realized, wow, I got a lot to work on, and it's more than just putting the alcohol away. 1 foot of the Statue of Liberty. Her 1 foot is moving forward, not looking at the past. 1 foot is forward, just feeling stuck sometimes. Tough time moving forward. We have a saying in this house, and I don't even remember where we heard it, but if you got 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future, you are crapping on today. I need to get that book. You're right. I'll get it. I'll order it. As soon as we get our taxes back, we'll order all kinds of
One of
stuff.
the worst things about me is I'm a perfectionist.
You are?
No, it's from Key and Peele.
I don't know that.
Can a brother get on that?
Oh, Lindy said it. I'm not a perfectionist by any means.
Except for
Yeah,
when-
Polly, it is perfection. Or
Except for-
progress, not perfect.
Dad, you're a perfectionist when it comes to cleaning your rooms, y'all. That thing better be.
Get rid of the
Immaculate.
stinking thinking. This is an awesome book. I was going to read The Mistaken Beliefs About Recovery and Relapse. The first step in preventing relapse is to understand what it is and what it is not. The more you know and understand about relapse, the less risk there is that you will experience it, and the less threatening it will be for you. There are a great many mistaken beliefs that trap relapse-prone people into a state of hopelessness. Many people have these mistaken beliefs and act as if they are true. Mistaken beliefs about relapse create self-fulfilling prophecies. When mistaken beliefs become truth to you, you act as if those beliefs are true. What do you guys think about that?
Love it.
Hey, you're all happy.
Yeah, just sit down.
Okay.
The problem with mistaken belief is that they prevent the effective problem solving needed to interrupt the cycle of relapse. Mistaken beliefs about relapse create self-fulfilling prophecies. When mistaken beliefs become truth to you, you act as if those beliefs are true. These inappropriate behaviors lead you into a relapse cycle, so the mistaken belief you have become becomes real. The mistaken beliefs that prevent relapse-prone people from recovering fall into 4 areas. These areas include mistaken beliefs about the following: the role of alcohol and drug use in recovery and relapse, the presence of nature and relapse warning signs, the meaning of role of motivation in recovery, and the effectiveness of the treatment. Each of these will be reviewed in detail. But yeah, if you are believing the lie, mistaken beliefs about relapse create self-fulfilling prophecies. What do you guys think about that? Thank you. It helps too if I pre-read it. If I read it cold, I make all kinds of mistakes reading it out loud. Are you serious? In 98, I would have done a backflip. Siri thinks I'm talking to her.
Ooh, tickled my arm.
I was happy to get C's, Lynn, if I ever, well, prior to me dropping out in 10th grade. Did you get a 4.0 as well, Lynn? Because not me. My sister got good grades. I didn't even know what a grade point average was until I was, I don't know, in my
Alright.
late 20s probably. No, I don't think you. Perfectionist. I'm the good enough guy.
Oh, at Capstone, they say practice makes better because nothing's perfect.
Oh, practice makes better because nothing's perfect. I like that.
That is good, bud.
Here's something from Al-Anon, if you guys are. It says, what is and is not mine to control? When I walked into my first Al-Anon meeting 2 years ago, I was a broken woman. Although I didn't realize it then, I went because our marriage therapist suggested it to me. I was hoping to learn how to make my husband sober. He's the one with the drinking problem, I thought, not me. I thought that he chose to live an alcoholic lifestyle. He didn't seem to care that he was ruining his life, my life, and our marriage. In these past years, I have learned to accept that alcoholism is a family disease and to accept how I let this sickness affect me. Al-Anon showed me the way to better life through attending meetings and using the tools of this program. Moreover, I learned that when it comes to my loved one's alcoholism, I didn't cause it. I can't control it. I can't cure it. I caused my own pain and suffering by giving my loved one control of my feelings. However, today I have control of how I feel. I make myself stronger and happier by working the Al-Anon program. I can also control my needs, wants, happinesses, and sadness. I can live my life by standards and trust in my higher power and myself. Thanks to Al Anon, I am having a transformation. I lived for years in the cocoon of alcoholism. Suddenly, I have the commitment, strength, and desire to break free, live my life, grow, feel sincere and content. I am broken no more. I no longer take everything my husband says personally when his disease is raging within him. Most of all, I hope that my present and future life will continue to fulfill my desire and dreams. Ooh, I like that.
That's good.
Some Al-Anon. I wish Maddie was on here tonight.
Yeah.
The girl is taking my side on the reality of God. Imagine that. They were asking me if I knew the Lord's Prayer. The kid said he is atheist, but on a closer look, I say agnostic. She is kind of hot.
Dun, dun, dun.
Are you having a theological debate in your house there, Bob? I'll hook you up. I'll help you with some of that. Wow, 4-0. Lynn, don't listen to me talk. Don't listen to my grammar. Don't check my spelling. I'm horrible at all of that. That's awesome, though. 4.0. That takes hard work.
That takes discipline.
Discipline.
You seem like a very disciplined woman, Lynn.
And I love that addicts, addiction gets anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody. I'm going to use the restroom. Y'all, talk amongst yourselves.
Talks amongst yourselves. You need a potty vape? Well, Link,
Yeah.
what would you like to talk about?
What would the viewers like to talk about?
You got a good joke for us?
Let's see. Why did the turkey cross the road twice?
Why?
To prove he wasn't a chicken.
That's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, Trey said why.
To prove he wasn't a chicken.
Lol.
Laugh out loud.
My mom says IKR all the time.
What does it mean?
I know, right? It's funny.
What does IKR mean? I know, right? Seriously, what does it mean?
Yeah, life takes lots of discipline. That's for sure. I think discipline is just doing things a lot of times that you don't want to do just because you have to do it. There's a lot of things that I need to do that I don't want to do all the time, such as laundry. Probably the one thing that I hate doing the most is laundry. That takes discipline. And trying to instill that in my children, and all their socks stink and they steal my socks. And then my socks stink. Because we're all learning the discipline of laundry. Right. How's your laundry?
Piles.
Dirty laundry. We all have dirty laundry. We also have work. We call it work laundry. We have to do all that. Oh, it does take a
Give
lot of
somebody a seat back.
discipline. Oh, and he returns.
This looks like the clouds. What'd I miss?
Discipline. Life takes discipline.
I was thinking about the Lord's Prayer after Bob said that. You guys want to hear me preach for a minute? So some tools that you can use to stay sober and drop the rock. I learned this how to drop the rock, and I kind of added this part, but I had to do a little book study on drop the rock. So step 6 is our readiness to change comes from the awareness of how we are harming ourselves, right? So step 7, we humbly ask God to remove all of our character defects. So we can say a little prayer. And now we're going to go look at 5 tools. So let's look at 5 tools that will help us. You can find a ritual will help you get rid of these character defects. Think about a ceremony, like a candlelit ceremony, like you're burning slips of paper with our hesitations, fears, and character defects written on them. And in this portion of the book, it talks about taking your character defects. Say you write a whole bunch of character defects down. There's 17 that we have written down that I go through. And you could take impatience, self-destruct, or destructive anger, all of them. Put them in a hat, and then every morning grab one out of the hat and look at it, and then practice that character defect the rest of the day. Work on just that one character defect all day long. Try to turn it into an asset. And then 2, this is where I wanted to start preaching, is use prayer. Prayer is mentioned in step 7, right? We humbly ask God. Humbly ask God. It's essential. It's being mindful, asking for awareness of our defects. Prayer can add depth and meaning to our commitment. And you use prayer to ask for ease of grace and surrender. Use prayer to ask how to think and to act. And you can use prayer to say thank you. And you can also use prayer to ask how to pray. And this brings me to the Lord's Prayer. And that's why we say the Lord's Prayer at AA sometimes, right? The Lord's Prayer came because the disciples were asking the Lord how to pray. And the Lord said like this. We say the prayer at the end of AA sometimes, and it's powerful prayer. And I think it's taken for granted a lot. And it's brushed aside a lot because people automatically think, oh, it's religion. Oh, my goodness. But look at the prayer. Jesus speaking, right, to God, calls God Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. That's his higher power. Our God in heaven, hallowed be your name. Holy be your name. Father, show us what we can have. And he shows us that we can have a personal relationship with our higher power, who art in heaven, meaning that he's not of this world, that he is the higher power. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done. And this is the whole not my will be done thing, like page 417 in the big book. Not my will and all its defects, but God, your will be done. Give us this day our daily bread. And this is that one day at a time, right? In NA, we talk about one day at a time. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. We need to and can be forgiven, and we need to humbly forgive others. And on top of that, we need to forgive ourselves. We need to realize we are forgiven, and we need to realize that we can forgive, and then you need to really realize that you can forgive yourself. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. How easily do we fall into that temptation? So we ask God to keep us safe. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. So we can acknowledge and trust our higher power now and always. Prayer can be considered cheating because it's how much easier it can make the process of recovery. So use prayer. I agree with that. But that's a little chunk I had to write in the book report.
Amen.
Amen. Where are we at? What did I lose?
Yeah, there are Catholics here in Utah, Polly.
Yes,
I
we're
was
in
actually
Utah.
raised Catholic on holidays. I was a holiday Catholic my whole childhood until I met LT. And I went to a few Christian churches in between and even visited Mormon church a couple times. But then I met LT and started
Jumbo.
reading the Bible, and God opened my eyes to who Jesus was and what he did for me on the cross. And now I am a proud Christ follower.
Amen. Yeah, self-forgiveness is tough. Smack her, Bob.
I got it.
I'll watch it in a minute, bud. You recorded it for a reason. It's not going nowhere.
No, I don't practice I'm no longer Catholic. I don't feel like I need to pray to the saints when I can pray to Jesus. I don't need another mediator, I suppose. I did Ash Wednesday a lot though when I was a kid. Just go to school or wherever with the ashes on her forehead. My mom, it seemed like, tried to cover all the bases. So we believed a lot of different things.
When at the end of the road we find that we can no longer function as a human being, either with or without drugs, we all face the same dilemma. What is there left to do? There seems to be this alternative: either go as best we can in the bitter end, jails, institution, or death, or find a new way to live. In the years gone by, very few addicts ever had this last choice. Those who are addicted today are more fortunate. For the first time in man's entire history, a simple way has been proven itself in the lives of many addicts. It is available to us all. This is a simple spiritual, not religious program known as Narcotics Anonymous. We do recover. He's sewing his lips. He's sewing his lip. You tired, bud? You look tired tonight.
I used to play last night.
You
Bob,
good?
is this girl like a real person? I thought these teenagers left already. Is she a ghost from your Ouija board? I don't understand.
What's going on at Bob's house?
What's going on? Are you at Alcatraz, Bob? Is that what's going on?
Yes, Dr. Bill was a very wise guy. Not a wise guy like Polly would say, but a wise man. I agree. Everybody still hanging in there? Want to keep yakking? And does anybody want to jump online and talk for a little bit? I'm going to put the link in the description if you want to jump on here and say hello and all that good stuff. Just click the link.
Bob, I feel like you should jump on so you can show us what's happening.
I think I hit R. No, that's right. Bob, hit that button. Come join us live and say hello. Polly throwing out some lyrics from Pink Floyd.
I feel like Pink Floyd stole that.
You reap what you sow?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we reap what we sow when we do that stuff. There's no doubt about it. Lady, don't sing it or you'll get
Can you hum it?
copyright violation. No.
Hmm.
So happened to Mr. Beast. They sing a song in the background and he got copyright violation.
Mr. Beast?
And millions of dollars.
Oh, geez.
Mr. Beast is probably one of the most famous YouTubers out there.
I don't know.
That picture you see
That's not
behind
the
us is
bathroom.
off. That's facing west from our house right there. That's the trail we were on today. But that all that water down here that you see is
Salt Lake.
the Great Salt Lake. It's disgusting out there. Salty and slimy and gross.
The Great Sodium Lake.
And there were 6.
Bob.
Bob.
Bob, Troy, Lynn, anybody want to jump on and say hi?
Say hello.
Bobby.
We lost Ash and
Bobby.
Brittany Beautiful.
What about Bob?
Ash got really mad and left. James Vickers, he went to a meeting. Alicia, she bounced probably.
I will be Googling crocodile tears because if I'm using that incorrectly, I'd like to know.
That was Brittany. I don't think she got too mad about it, but Ash got mad because I yelled at Alexa and called her dumb.
Well,
Principles before personalities. Ash, principles before personalities in all our affairs.
Ooh, take the 16 personalities test.
Oh, yeah. Have you guys ever done that? There's a thing called 16personalities.com. Get on there, take that test. I think it takes like 10, 15 minutes to take it, but there's 16 different personalities and 4 different categories of 4 different types of personalities in each category. It's pretty darn accurate and will blow your mind. It is, bro. It's open compared to out east. I used to live in Michigan. I know what that flat tree land is like. Or probably buildings where you're at, huh?
Yeah, Philly seems pretty populated.
Philly's
And
very populated.
Building E. Probably even more so than like our big city. I don't know. I like waking up and seeing the mountains and having the option to go to the lake.
All right, brother. You have a good night. You're welcome. And
Peace
we'll
out.
be back. We're going to do this every night. If you guys can make it, make it. If not, no big deal. But we're going to jump on here 8 o'clock every night. I'm sure that Nicole and James will do the same thing. We're all locked up in the house. We might as well be locked up, hanging out together, and at least preaching recovery. So you have a good night, brother. We'll see you tomorrow if you can make it. If not, we'll see you when you can.
What camera
Work on
is
your
he gonna
character
get?
defects. What?
Is he going to get your camera?
What?
What camera?
Yeah, come on over, dude. It's sitting right here. It's waiting for. I'm gonna put Troy's here. I'll do it right now.
Is that your 60?
No.
Oh, your T7i. It's a good camera.
It's a yellow piece of paper. It says Troy's, and it's on there. All right, see you, brother. Watch.
Creepy.
That's crazy. Yeah, us too. We're supposed to go to Vegas at the end of May and visit, but they shut the lights off in Vegas. My uncle worked for New York, and MGM is the one that owns all that out there. And they laid off. They only kept like security guards to keep the place on lockdown and boiler room type people to keep the building's machinery running. Other than that, everybody got laid off. My uncle's out of a job. He was there for 23 years. They said, bye. Shut the lights off in Vegas. Party's over. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. There's no more for now.
Because nothing happens in Vegas anymore.
Nothing's happening now. It's crazy. Places are on lockdown.
I don't know. After watching that documentary, I'm kind of glad.
Me too. Yeah, if you watch that 1918 documentary on the Spanish flu, we're doing the right thing. Yeah, dude. It's crazy. Like, whoa. Probably later, bro. Yeah, Lynn, it really happened. Pretty crazy. All right, I think we're gonna head to bed. Are we done? You guys done in there? You guys done in there in YouTube land and sitting there on your phones or iPads or computers?
The kids are pretty excited about a Malcolm in the Middle-a-thon.
Oh yeah, our kids want to have a Malcolm in the Middle-a-thon. You guys ever watch that sitcom? Holy cow, that show is hilarious.
They have really great
It's
content.
So accurate.
Atlantic City is shut down.
The only place not shut down is the Spring Breakers
In Florida.
in Florida,
Oh,
where all the
houses.
old people live in their golf carts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Florida is the Philadelphia of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's almost been 2 hours.
Yeah, I think it's done. I'm tired.
So am I.
I'm tired. I'm ready for bed. Any other burning desires or anything before we bounce up on out of here?
Hey, I'm gonna.
If not, we are going to take off. We're going to go watch TV and go to bed
Peace out, man.
And eat ice cream.
and eat ice cream. But we will be back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll be back here Monday at 8 o'clock, Tuesday at 8 o'clock. If you have any friends in recovery or you know anybody that wants to hear and talk about recovery, or if they just want to get on here and talk, and we can just chit chat about anything. It doesn't matter really.
We love you guys.
I think Bob got kidnapped by some lady ghost. He just disappeared.
Yeah. Bob?
Bye bye.
Bob. You okay, Bob?
Okay.
Cool. All right, you guys. You guys
Peace
have a
out.
good night. We'll see you tomorrow.